So this week's episode definitely gives us a lot of information. You could definitely call this the info dump episode, but these are the types of episodes I really enjoy and really look forward to, especially in a series with so much going on, so much we still don't know about. And the biggest question we have is, what is this organization? What is their true motives? What is the leader's plans? And this episode gives it to us, and I think they give it to us at a pretty appropriate time. Episode 7, about halfway through the series. It's a good episode to just drop a lot of information like they did. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, oh, it was boring, there's too much information. I adore it. This is what I live for with anime. Now, this was pretty interesting because I wasn't totally sure the direction they were going to go with this religion, this kind of cult following. Where were they going to go? But I have to say I absolutely adore what they did with this, mainly because of how the followers, the supporters of this religion, this organization, really are just set in stone like the old Christian ways, really blinded by the words in this gospel, this book, this ancient book that has this writing of the original founder of this love organization. Only one person ever wrote it, but then when you get to learn the ins and outs and what truly is going on behind the scenes with the current leader, I just love what they did. Because the fact of the matter is, the current leader, he doesn't really buy into all the bullshit. He understands that a lot of the words, they just say that to keep face up, to make the general public think what they are is who they are, but really, this guy has his own motives, and he essentially wants to extend his life similar to how the original founder did. No longer really be human, get to be someone like a herald, be someone who can be better than a human, and that's ultimately his goal, and he wants to use the stone for his own gain, which is totally opposite to what the organization is built for, and that's why they're supposedly so upset at our main character's family, because they're using the stone for their own gain, when this is a sacred holy object. It's like the Christian Bible. You can't just use that if it had some magical powers to go rob a bank or something like that. So I like what they're doing. I like how they're establishing this guy, but then seeing the reaction of the followers and how upset and angry they are because their leader is, in their eyes, a complete crook and fake. And he doesn't care that they're going to not use stasis, seal off stasis, he's going to use it for his own gain. And it was just so interesting learning the ins and outs of this history, even more interesting learning that the first page of this gospel, this book, and the last page are hundreds of years apart, but only one person wrote it, and it makes sense of what the drive is for this antagonist, what's ultimately going on. But then even if you look back at, you know, what happened at the cliffhanger of last week, and the little boy who got to survive did turn out it was her brother, they weren't pulling a fast one on us or anything like that, so as soon as they leave stasis, she should in theory still have a brother, and then she'll have to go bury her parents, which is not the best way to come out of stasis, but at least she does have her brother back. So this episode was interesting because there's just so much information being dropped, but I personally thought they dropped it in a very interesting way, just because I was glued to the screen. I was like, I want to see where this Sagawa guy is going to go, what's happening, what his drive is. And ultimately, I think the reason this episode was so interesting is because of the reaction of the followers, because of how angry they were, that they're seeing that their leader is essentially no different than the family that they're supposedly trying to steal the stone away from, because he wants to use the stone for his own gain, which is absolutely, basically Satan in their eyes. He can't do this. This is a sacred holy object. You cannot deface it like that. And I love how they're doing it, but also the fact that the specters are starting to come through his body. And if you look at the preview, his face and body is completely changing into what seems to be a herald in some way. So where's next week gonna go? I have no idea, but I'm very excited. But there's a moment in this episode where the father is basically, he's looking after the grandson there, and he's talking about, you know, why do they want to steal away the stone power? You know, guns don't kill people, people kill people. And he's just having the most ridiculous monologue possible, but they play it up in such a funny way to me because they're just showing that this guy, he thinks that he's top shit, that he could lead the family, he knows what's best for the stone, but it just shows you the arrogance, the ignorance, the just greed and lust that humans represent all in this one stupid person. And then they basically just play it off as a joke because the grandson, I think, cracks a joke or something like that. It's just a very silly scene where he's trying to be serious, but it shows like he's just nothing in the grand scheme of things. And if anyone has to die in this family, probably take that guy, because, you know, he was able to summon a goddamn herald without even really trying, just with his lust and his just intent for killing people. And he just seems like a ridiculous person who's going to get this family in trouble. So if someone has to eat shit, I think it definitely should be him. But this episode was a lot of information. I expect a lot of people are going to say it's boring or something along that nature, but we're not an action show. Like, yes, there is action in here, but this is a very story and character driven. There's a lot of history, and we need this episode to really establish this organization and set us up for the second half, and I thought they did a really good job. And overall, this is just a great episode in my opinion. Definitely one of the highlights for me, because this is what I've been waiting for. I didn't know a lot about this organization, the religion, what they're building up to, but now I have a good idea. Love what they did with it, and I love just seeing the twist of religion in this way, because this does happen. Just look at our history, where the believers of any given religion follow it mindlessly, where the leaders had their own ulterior motives, and I just love what they did with this series. Can't wait for episode 8 next week, but let me know your thoughts. What was your favorite moment? Let me know down in that comment section below, and before you leave, smack that like button, share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.